That's right. This is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 23. How the time flies in the NBA bubble. We have the playoffs coming, play-in game later today. And for the first time, Mike and Alex are on video. So this is exciting. We've done 22 previous episodes. I haven't seen you. And now episode 23, it's like we're having a conversation where I can look deep into your eyes and in your soul and see your Knicks orange and blue bleh, pour out of your system.
Very exciting. It's very exciting. I forgot what you look like. It's been like 6 months since we've seen each other. And you haven't changed one bit, though. I'll tell you that.
Oh, thank you so much. No, I've gained weight. I can tell you. I was on the scale earlier today, and I go on the scale only two times. It'll be after I go to the bathroom or after I go for a run, because those are lowest scale numbers. Definitely have gained weight.
I usually do it like I wake up in the morning, I take a piss, and then I weigh myself, because then I feel like I got rid of that extra pound that the piss is holding in overnight. And then I feel a little better with myself. Once I see the number, I'm like, all right, that's it. You know what I mean? The one I agree with, then I'm like, okay, we're good.
Yeah, no, don't ever go on the scale at night, like after you or if you ate and drank stuff.
After you eating sushi or something.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about that in the shower earlier. Sodium, soy sauce. Yeah, Bad Weather Fans. Two men in their 30s talking. See, we have something in common there. That's not Knicks and Nets. All right, so first of all, so I said before we went on this, I had something I wanted to surprise you with, and then of course you said you had something you wanted to surprise me with.
Right.
I'll let you go first. Let's see your
all right. Here we go.
Gimmick. Let's see your Knicks.
I got you the shirt that I told you about. The Mecca, bro.
I assume. Ugh.
It's all for you.
Is that new?
Brand new. I got it just for this.
Is it a nice company? Is it a nice quality, or is it like itchy?
From Homage, the T-shirt company. Yeah, no, they're pretty cool. Yeah, no, I got it. I have another shirt from them. They're like feel comfortable, and I got this is the shirt I told you. I sent you the link. I was like, I'm gonna get you this shirt. I was like, if we ever go to a game again, if basketball ever comes back in person, I was gonna wear this shirt and go to a game with you. But I just bought it for this because we're like, we're gonna go on Zoom. I was like, that's the next best thing.
Oh, unbelievable! Very sweet.
I should just leave the garden in the picture. Like,
but then we can't see your face.
Yeah, but then the Mecca, bro. It's the Mecca. No, I'm just kidding.
It's the Mecca of emptiness.
The draft lottery.
All right. So here's my surprise for you.
Okay.
This is a 2002 NBA Finals Game 3 ticket. Jason Kidd on there. And here it is.
He's a good Knick.
He was a good Knick. They had their best year when he was there. Not a great coach, but here it is. My 2002 NBA Finals ticket that I've saved.
Did they win that game? What game was that?
They didn't win
game
that.
3?
They didn't win any of those games against the Lakers.
Oh, I don't know which one they won and which one.
They got swept by the Lakers. I said 2003. It's just 2002. I should know that. 2002 they got swept. 2003 was against the Spurs. They lost in 6. I feel like with the Nets, like I have to educate people. This is
all those, and plus all those early 2000 finals with the Lakers. It was kind of like the worst dynasty ever. You know what I mean? People look back at it fondly now because of Kobe and Shaq and whatever. But like while those Lakers, that first three-peat was going on, people weren't into it. You know what I mean? Because we just came off the Jordan. I feel like, people are into it, but it wasn't like the Jordan three-peat where everybody was like, wow, I can't believe it. It was kind of like Shaq was like a cheat code, and Kobe was so good, and it was like, all right, well, these guys are gonna win. You know what I mean? There was no like real challenge. Like Iverson hit one shot in the corner, and it's a momentous occasion because they hit a shot and they won one game.
The problem with those finals, and they had the three. They beat the Pacers, the Sixers, and the Nets. The issues with those finals were their real challenge came in the Western Conference. Those were great series. Like if you look back at Lakers, Kings was tremendous. You have the Robert Horry shot. Right. And that whole series was unbelievable. The previous year when the dynasty was starting, the Lakers versus Blazers with Sheed, Bonzi, Pippen, Stoudemire. Like those, if you look back at those Western Conference finals, those were great. Once they got to the East, the net, it was like, Richard
like,
Jefferson,
what is this?
I think he said it on our podcast. He was like, Shaq was unguardable. It was like you said, it was cheat code. There was just, it was like that. And it's fun, it's funny you bring that up because we always talk about like Kobe as an all-time great, which he is.
Of course.
For some reason, we don't put Shaq in that conversation. Like, if watching that series, if I had to pick one player to remove from it, it would be Shaq in a heartbeat. Like, Kobe was unbelievable. Don't get me wrong. Like, he destroyed the Nets. But at least it was just with Shaq. It was just unstoppable force down low that changed the whole game and spread the offense differently. So I always find it fascinating that people forget like how maybe Shaq's probably better than Kobe long run, but it's just not talked about like that. It was weird.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're not. I mean, people are very sensitive right now, and grieving still. So you're not allowed to really criticize Kobe right now, which I understand, and you shouldn't. But like Shaq I'm not saying you are. No, I'm not saying you are. I don't want to get you in trouble.
Yeah. No, I'm just. Yeah. Okay, good. I was like, I'm not being critical. I'm just.
No, you're not.
Funny that
it's true.
How much like even like with Wilt in the same conversation, these centers just get forgotten in these conversations.
Right, and it's what it is. I mean, he was just so good that it was like he was getting 30, 35 a night easy.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like like your boy says, Durant said he had no skill, because Shaq criticized Draymond and Durant got upset and said he had no skill. Remember a couple of years ago?
I don't even remember.
That was ridiculous. Yeah, it was ridiculous because Shaq, and then people are posting all these videos of Shaq like running the fast break. Like, you know what I mean? Like he was incredible.
Sick athlete.
And so it wasn't like he was just like the biggest guy in the court and couldn't just dunk it. You know what I mean? Like so, it's not really fair to do that to Shaq. And he really gets no credit like that. And then when he went to Miami, people say, oh, he wasn't even that good anymore, even though, D-Wade doesn't win that first title without him, even though he was incredible, D-Wade. Yeah. But he needs a sidekick. You can't be a center and win it by yourself. Like, look what happened to Wilt Chamberlain. You know what I mean? He only won a handful of titles, and he was the best player in the world for like 20 years. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like you need a guard when you're a center. You can't do it alone. Look at Patrick Ewing. He couldn't do it alone.
He had a guard in John Starks, right? He was good.
Yeah, I mean, one-time All-Star. Yeah, but I mean,
he was an All-Star one time.
94. Him and Oakley and Ewing were, and Pat Riley was the coach. That was their year. The three of them. Which is not that exciting anymore because Oakley's an asshole. So like that just sucks.
Yeah, your hatred of Oak. We've gone down that road. All right, let's talk some Nets, and I want to do this because then I've enjoyed this Nets bubble team, and it's been so much fun to watch. And I said this before this stupid thing started with the bubble, that everything's going to be evened out. And it truly is remarkable to me. The Nets went 5-3 in the bubble. They did not have, and I'm not going to include Kevin Durant, and I won't even include Kyrie Irving, but they did not have Spencer Dinwiddie, DeAndre Jordan, Taurean Prince, Wilson Chandler. These guys did not come to the bubble. And they have picked up their play. And Karis LeVert has been so good that it's been so exciting and refreshing for me as a Nets fan to watch a team develop, play well, and now go into the series against the Toronto Raptors, where I understand the Raptors will be heavy favorites, but there is false hope and optimism after watching, and we'll get into our NBA predictions a little bit later on in the podcast, but there's been a lot of hope and like excitement watching this Nets team play, and now I'm going to see them go up against the Raptors. I have like this false sense of hope that they could actually win some games.
Yeah, I mean, they might win one. I think it's not. I don't see them putting a real fear into the Raptors. I got to be honest. I mean, the Raptors is a team you wanted because if there is a team that you can upset, it probably is the Raptors. But I just, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. Like the thing that underdog team in regular real life, usually uses is like the crowd. Like they get home for that game 3 and 4 and they're like, oh, man, we got the crowd behind us. You never know. We played them close in games 1 and 2. You never know, but then now nobody really has that. So it's just gonna be talent, which I mean, you can make that argument either way though. You know what I mean? You can say like, well, there's no crowd on the road for the favorites, so I don't know. I know you're excited and I don't want to tame your enthusiasm, but like, I really don't see the Nets having much of a chance. I mean, I got to be honest. I'm not being a dick or anything.
No, that's fair. Trust me, you're in the you're part of the mainstream media feelings on what they think. I mean, that's the truth. But I'm just from watching Karis LeVert develop, and like it's fun. He's been so good, and it's been so cool to see him go from a rookie that got some talent, but he's kind of not ready for the prime time. So what he did against the Blazers, where he scored 37, he had the final shot where he could win the game. But even to me, my biggest takeaway from that game is afterwards, Damian Lillard going over to Karis LeVert and saying like, dude, mad respect to you. You've been balling, and nobody's been playing better basketball in the last 2 weeks than Damian Lillard. So my takeaway from that is like Karis playing confident, Damian Lillard saying that to him, and I get juiced up because you're right. Maybe Kevin Durant isn't the same player. Maybe Kyrie Irving never plays. Who the hell knows? But when I see Karis LeVert on there and he's their third option, a guy that's going out getting 37 in a meaningless game versus the Blazers, I'm like pretty fucking excited for this team. If he's going to be the third guy, that is a huge change and a huge part in this development for the Nets moving forward. Karis LeVert being a dude, I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, and then you got Dinwiddie and you got Joe Harris if you can keep him, and then if there's a lot there. What?
They're keeping him.
Yeah. If he's not on the Knicks next year, that'd be fun. But no, you should be excited. I mean, you never know. I mean, I don't see it working out quite like you do, I'm sure, but you're excited. You're not like, you're different because you're not the kind of fan who's like, yes, it's definitely going to work out. It's just all 100%, no chance that it's going to fail. You're just kind of like, all right, I'm just excited. Like, hopefully we have I'm just happy to have a chance.
Yeah,
know what I mean?
Are there fans that just, I'm not just saying, is this like, I don't know if you're going to go with a net fan take here or just, I've never met, maybe it's because of my teams, but I'm like, who goes into a season just being like, yep, we got it this year?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of Nets fans. It might just be trolling or just talking shit and having a good time. You know what I mean? Like that. They're like, no, well, next year when Durant and Kyrie are back with LeVert and Dinwiddie and Harris and Allen and Jordan, we're going to be the greatest team ever. You know what I mean? We're going to win 70 games. I mean, obviously those are 70 games, but I'm exaggerating. I know what you're saying. But there are definitely a lot of fans like that, and you guys should be excited. I mean, no Knicks fan is going to be like, Nets fans shouldn't be excited about the chance. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's going to work out. I'm happy the Knicks didn't sign Durant once he got hurt. I have the tweets to prove it. This is not a flip flop. I understand why you're excited. I mean, I probably would trick myself into being excited if I was a Knicks fan and they signed those guys. You know what I mean? Just because it's like, what other choice do I have as a fan? Like, as a Jets fan, I hate Adam Gase. I think he's the worst coach in the NFL. Right. But I'm still going to root for him. I mean, like, oh, well, I hope it works out. You know what I mean? But I think he's terrible. And I think they're going to waste Sam Darnold. But, like, at the same time, it's like, I just think he's terrible. It's just when you get to a certain age and a certain sports experience, and this, you fight with your logic and your fandom. There's logic and fandom. Like, fandom gets you excited, and like when you're a kid, you don't have as much logic and knowledge. Right. I love this video thing because I can do the hand. You can follow me a little more. I can do like.
You're very. You're very talented at the hand gestures.
Yeah. I do that a lot on the phone. I'm talking to somebody on the phone, and I'll be like, "But you don't understand. You got to go like this." And then I'm like, "Oh, you can fucking see me." You know what I mean?
Well, it's just. I mean, honestly, it has to be just, passionate Knicks fans. Oh, yeah, they're just so good at getting into it with their hands. I've been on Twitter a little bit. I've been on Twitter a little bit, like going at it with some of these Knicks fans as a joke. Like, I really. Yeah, but it's I guess I guess this has been bothering me. I'm building this up. These Knicks fans that this is what bothers me, and this is what triggered it. So Evan Roberts put out a tweet when he was excited about the Nets and something good happened, whatever. And then I noticed like a lot of people respond with nobody cares. And I don't know, that to me is the most lame, boring, easy answer to go with. Mm-hmm. People do care. So I don't, but I'm trying to get the mindset of a Knicks fan or somebody that thinks the Nets are irrelevant here. That is such the go-to line. Nobody cares. Well, you know what? There are people that care. And it bothered you enough to write that. So then you clearly care. If you didn't care, you wouldn't be there giving that response. Somebody's passionate about their team. They're excited about their team. And I was thinking, too, I don't think the Nets get enough media coverage locally because everybody that's in the media here locally is all these old school Knicks fans that have been here forever, and they don't give it the attention because they don't care. But then you have someone like Evan who does give a shit about the Nets, and then he starts talking about them, and then the Knicks fans get annoyed. Nobody cares. It's like nobody. Okay, they don't. There's more attention for the Knicks, but there are people that care. It's just not true.
Yeah, I mean, there are people who care. It's definitely not the majority, as you would know. You know what I mean? And I think that's more of why the media covers the Knicks more than the Nets, and that annoys Knicks fans too, because the Knicks do one, they kick a fan out or he goes in the wrong entrance, and it's like all over the news for like 3 days. The Nets fire a CEO or a CEO quits after 2 months, and nobody hears about it. You know what I mean? It's just the level of it. If the Knicks did something like that, it'd be on the news for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, So there is that nobody cares, and it's kind of annoys Knicks fans, and it also is a point of pride for a lot of Knicks fans. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's annoying that, they say Knicks for clicks and people annoy us and they say things just to get attention. They mention Knicks in a tweet or a post and it gets more attention because it pisses us off, and then it goes off into the abyss of Twitter. And, so like there is a lot of that. So I don't know. I lost my train of thought, but it doesn't matter. It's you get what I'm saying. It's just, I think Nets fans have also talked a lot of shit over the last 2 years or so. And, Knicks fans are tired of it. And that's one way that we can get back at you and troll you for, being happy, because there's a lot of times that, I'll put out a tweet and it goes viral, you know what I mean? Whatever it is, and has nothing to do with the Nets whatsoever. Just be like, one thing was like, oh, you think the Knicks fans are bad now? Just wait till if they ever turn it around, they're going to be insufferable or something like that. And it blew up. And all of a sudden I get the same like Nets fans just, oh, nobody cares. Did you sign any free agents? It's like, nobody's talking about the Nets, bro. Like, you had your 50 minutes of fame and you're trying to win, and just do you, man. Like, what are you worried about me for? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of that on both sides, Yeah,
no, that's a completely fair. So I'm looking at it from my side of the perspective. So I understand that. Mm-hmm. So this is the one that needles me when the nobody cares comments. Like, it's so,
well, nobody cares.
I mean, there's a section of people that do care, and it's growing, and it is growing. It is growing. There's no way to deny that. There are more Net
they're
fans.
Trying to get the next generation.
Yeah, no, exactly, and that's why these years are critical. So
it's kind of like cigarettes.
What's that?
It's kind of like cigarettes. They made smoking cigarettes completely impossible now in today's world. You can't smoke inside. You can't smoke in clubs. You can't smoke in bars. You have to smoke outside in certain areas. You can't smoke in parks. So like the next generation, it's not as easy to smoke cigarettes. So like they're hoping that the next generation will stop smoking cigarettes. So Nets fans are trying to do the same thing. They're like, hey, if we're kind of good, kids will be like, oh, wow, this team is pretty good. And they live down the street. They're in Brooklyn, and it's cheaper to go to a game. And, hey, let's be a Net fan. Fuck the Knicks. You know what I mean? Like that's.
Well, I would say that too. Fuck the Knicks. I was like, are you making a comparison to
cigarettes and the
cigarettes?
Nets, same thing.
I was like, I don't know where the hell you're going with this. That was kind of
made sense though. It made sense.
I don't know if it did. I really got to admit, I thought it was strange. I thought it was weird.
Hey,
I didn't like it at all.
Think about it. Just think about it.
All right. Well, don't smoke. That's the bottom line. Okay.
Don't smoke. Be healthy. Smoking cigarettes.
No, I feel you, and I just that one gets out. That one bugs me. That one bugs me. I'm a very prideful Net fan. If there's one thing I'll say, that I'm very prideful about being a Net fan.
Most Net fans are.
I did some Uber deliveries, and I dropped off food at an apartment complex, so I couldn't go in, but I dropped off the food. And in the lobby, this guy was wearing a Knicks shirt, and I just instantly was like, I just wanted to go, what the fuck? Like, fuck you. Like, what are you doing? Like, take that off. I don't know. It's a weird reaction, right? If I see someone with a Yankee shirt, a Jets shirt,
other team in town on the other sports.
I mean, I guess like the Rangers by association, I don't really care. I don't care. I see that Knicks shirt. It just it honestly puts me in a bad place for a split second. It's weird. It's just
it's rent free. That's what they call. That's what the kids call it.
What does that mean? What is that?
We live rent free in your brain.
I guess you do. I mean, I guess you do. Like I just saw it and got instantly irritated. I just got instantly irritated to see a Knicks shirt. It really annoyed me. Like I guess I lie when I say like I don't care about the Knicks. I do. I want them to be awful. I want them to be. I never want them to win a game. I want them to be dysfunctional. I want the next 20 years to occur 20 years more and to be even worse. Like that would be my dream. I just don't like them.
Listen, it is a rivalry. I know people try to downplay a rivalry. I don't know why people do that. That's another question is why when people say something's a rivalry, like it's not a rivalry. It's got to be a rivalry if X, Y, and Z happens. Right. It's not like, why do people care about that shit? Like, it's a rivalry. Right. Fans hate it. Fans hate each other. Knicks and Nets fans hate each other. I know people want to act like I don't care about the Nets. Who cares? Yeah. Bullshit. You know what I mean? Like on both sides, you guys will all care and it's a rivalry.
Totally care.
Just because there hasn't been a playoff series that mattered in ever, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean that it's not a rivalry. It's a rivalry. It's a local, regional rivalry. It's different level. It's not like the Knicks and Bulls in the '90s, but it's still a rivalry. Like,
and it's moved up a notch with the Nets in Brooklyn. Right. And if both teams were good at the same time, it would be
incredible.
It would be interesting to see. It would be curious because we've never really
about that game early in the season.
Had that.
The second game of the year or whatever that was when the Knicks played at Brooklyn, and that was an intense game. The players were into it. Everybody knew, man. Fans were. I was cheering like it was a playoff game. You know what I mean? Like it was all summer. Everybody's talking shit, and then the Knicks went down big, and then all of a sudden Alonzo Trier that the Knicks had no use for this year. They just started hitting threes.
Like, you know, that's what I always say. I'm like, I'm always like, this Trier guy is incredible. Every time we played the Nets, I was like,
and Ellington, another guy, in that game, I think. You know, I don't understand. It is what it is. I mean, you know, who cares?
I will say this: I had this thought, which I thought was funny. Like, Knicks will go at each other, but like, if anybody then, like an outside force, and I won't get political here, but attack the NBA with like whatever, I do think it's cool. Then like Net and Knick fan would come together and be like, stop it with this, like you know, garbage when you're trying to attack NBA and like ratings are down and
we're ultimately all a family.
Basketball's in trouble. Like ultimately, it's like, you know what, we can put that bullshit together, like to unite forces and be cool together on that front.
Well, there's a lot of civil wars with Knicks fans. Like some love Melo, some hate Melo, some this, some that. But some, you know, it's so like. But then when something happens, like the Knicks hired Kenny Payne as an assistant, the former Kentucky assistant coach this week, right? They hired him, and he's been around the block. He's very experienced. He's coached all these stars in Kentucky. You know, they hired him because they're like, hey, you know what? This guy maybe connect with Kevin Knox. Maybe he can help develop these kids. And you know what I mean? Like it was a good hire. He's an assistant coach. He's like the fourth assistant coach. Who cares? You know? And then Howard Beck puts out a tweet like, the Knicks will never learn. They're hiring him to try to get free agents. And then all of a sudden, all the Knicks fans just went after him. And it was just like, and it was like beautiful to see. It's like when Knicks fans are united, they're like unstoppable. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just, they're never united unless they're good. And even when they're good, they're not united. Like, you know, it's rare. So
what is it about this obsession? This is so funny to me. Like, and I guess do you know where I'm going? I don't know.
The media?
No. No, this like pride and like somebody blocked me. Like I'm in the club now. I'm like, okay, I understand. Like I get it. There's going to be times where it's unwarranted, but there's other times like if I had somebody that had a lot of followers and this one person was just peppering me nonstop, telling me how much of a loser I am. Like I'd probably block you too. I mean, if it was just nonstop irritation. Now there's different levels of sensitivity from people, and I don't have that many Twitter followers, and I don't get that many tweets, so it's hard for me to even understand what that's like. But I guess I would imagine if like somebody was just telling me was just trolling me all day how awful I am, I might block that person.
Right. Yeah, and that would be, you know, grounds for blocking. Like somebody, like every time I tweet, like I've blocked a few people, you know, but I can tell when they're actual troll accounts, when you are telling me exactly what I think and I've never interacted with you ever, and you're throwing me screenshots of I'm like, all right, you know what? Like I tried to have a conversation with you and now you're just, you know, all right. And you're like painting my face with like a clown. People have done that. You know what I mean? Like that's like, all right, dude, like, you got issues. But, you know, after a while, I just start muting people instead of blocking, because if you block them, then they're going to do the screenshot thing. You know what I mean? Then they're going to get you with the screenshot. But if they're muted, then you can't see it anyway unless you really look for it. Right. And then, you know, but there's these national guys who have 500,000 followers. Like, why are you blocking people? Just put a filter on. You have so many notifications. You can easily miss these notifications. Like, just refresh and you won't see them anymore. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's bizarre.
So there's filters where you can explain these. I heard this the other day. Explain these filters where you can then like, it doesn't allow X person to get into your hand. I guess it knows if it's like kind of a nasty tweet towards you to make sure you don't see it. Is that what you're saying?
Well, sometimes you can have something where you can limit the notifications you receive, or you could, like, let's say I don't want to hear about Porzingis, right? Because I can't stand him, but I love to can't stand him. So I admit that. And I can put in the filter, I can write, don't show me anything on my timeline that says Porzingis. Then no matter who it is, even if you don't want to mute that person or block that person, you won't see that tweet on your timeline. You will see it if somebody tweets it, and then you'll see their tweet as a link. You know what I mean? That you can click on it and see it. And so there's ways you can quality filters. Like, a lot of people don't want to hear about the national anthem anymore. Either way you think, you just don't want to hear about it anymore. Right. You know what I mean? And people can block the word national anthem. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things like that you can do.
I gotcha. Okay.
Understand?
Yeah.
Like
now
I
get
gestures
it
too. Again, my hand gestures really, like, they paint the picture. You know what I mean?
You're doing a great job with the hand gestures. I don't think I'd get your point if you did not do the hand gestures. No, I do appreciate that, because I was kind of curious about that. I got to think of what I should need to filter. And so basically all your bullshit I need to get filtered.
Filter at Nick Central. Just.
You do love this Porzingis thing. That's one of my big notice. Like, you're obsessed with him failing. I mean, you want him to fail.
I am.
You want him, and I understand. I'd want, if I was from your perspective and you made this trade and how everything went sour with him.
Remind about it every 5 fucking seconds.
Every 5 seconds. So I'm just going to try to get in your head. Now I'm using hand gestures.
Yes.
You drafted him. Everybody said this is a terrible draft pick. There's that kid. We've seen him a million times. Who's now grown up and has his own attorney.
He's got a family. He's a grandfather.
He's a grandfather. Beautiful kids. So I've seen that a million times. Then to go like, oh, okay, maybe Porzingis is not that bad. To like, okay, this guy can play basketball. Like, this was a good draft pick. Then injuries, souring with the organization, all of that, to boom, shipped out to Dallas for the draft picks. So I could understand your perspective of wanting him to not do well. I think fail is it's a harsh word. I mean, he's made I don't know. But
I just want them to miss the playoffs next year. And once he misses the playoffs next year, then I can move on. Because like everybody's like, oh, those picks are going to be in the 20s. All the picks are going to be in the 20s. I'm like, how do you know? The Mavericks are the 7th seed right now. You got the Blazers coming. You got the Pelicans coming. You got the Suns coming. You got the Grizzlies coming. You got the Spurs will be back. You know what I mean? Like, how do you know they're going to be in the playoffs? Like, you don't know. You can win 45 games and not be in the playoffs, 42 games and not be in the playoffs in the West. You know what I mean? And then you're in the lottery. And then you never know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, and he's not a superstar. It's just what it is. And can you imagine if the Knicks had, over the last 2 years, if they had Porzingis on a max contract, they had Tim Hardaway Jr., like they say he's overpaid, which I don't agree with that completely. I think he's a good player for his value. You had Courtney Lee sitting on the bench getting DNPs all season, and he's getting paid a lot of money. And then you have less draft picks in the future. And Porzingis is averaging 20 and 9. You know what I'm saying? Like, the people will be like, what the hell just happened? Like, the Knicks are going nowhere. Like, the Knicks are in a better place right now that they made the trade. Yes, maybe they could have gotten a little more, maybe an extra draft pick in the future or another right to swap or something I would have been more happy with. But that unprotected pick next year is key because you don't know. You know what I mean? And even if the pick is 15, you don't know what that pick is.
No, you
know what
don't.
I mean? You got to wait 5 years. You know, everybody, I always reference the Kwame Brown trade, the Lakers Kwame Brown trade, and for Pau Gasol. Everybody's like, oh my God, what did the Grizzlies do? They just handed the Lakers championships, which they did. But guess what? The throw-in in the trade was Pau's brother, Marc Gasol, and he was the centerpiece of the Grizzlies organization for 10 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that wasn't such a terrible trade.
No.
You know what I mean? So, you got to wait. Like, everybody's so quick, but it's the way of the world. But it just annoys me because I'm obsessed with the Porzingis stuff because every time Porzingis hits a jump shot and it's like the Nationals, the Knicks are so stupid. Like, can you relax? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sitting home, I'm watching Orlando bubble. It's August. Like, can I just enjoy basketball? Like, without you guys like trolling us? You know what I mean? Like, so
I don't think it's as strong. I think it's somewhere in the middle. I don't think they're trolling you as much as you think. I think they are. I think there's definitely a point of contention there, but I do think it's overblown in your head from my perspective. Now, if I was you, I'd probably have the same exact feelings. So I understand because I'm ultra sensitive about any net trade or like when they like let's go back and talk about the Garnett Pierce deal. Like, I get it.
Like, again,
And to defend a little bit of the deal the Knicks made, the Nets made such a bad trade that year that it set the standard for deals. These trades don't happen as much as they used to. I think people got a little scared. I think GMs got scared with how much the Nets gave up in that deal.
Right.
The teams are
like
now
the Melo deal also.
Teams are now a little more protective. Yeah. Like, you don't just deal 3 draft picks. You know what I mean? You don't just deal 3 first-round picks, even if it's every other year. And you just don't do that because the consequences are Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I mean, they've got their core. And then they had a third one, which they parlayed into Kyrie Irving. That didn't work out. But if you think about it from a trade perspective, they dealt. This is what the Celtics did. They dealt aging Pierce, Garnett, and it turned into Kyrie Irving, Jason Tatum, and Jaylen Brown. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, just whatever. So I understand, like, that's what the Knicks got. Now, the key is, and I've said this before, it's what you do with the picks. And that's everything. It's what you do with the picks. And I'll bring it back to the Nets, and I've stated this on this podcast. Sean Marks made deals like that, and those picks became Jared Allen, Karis LeVert. And that was at nothing. And now those are pieces. And now, those are pieces talked about. Can they flip that for another star? And that's just how it works. Now, I don't want them to do that. But my point is, it's just what they do with the picks. And that is and that's TBA, I think that's right. TBA, TBD?
Yeah, TBD.
What's TBA? I just made that up.
To be announced, maybe?
Be announced? Yes, that's to be announced.
To be determined.
So I understand that you just have to wait with that, and you just have to see how it goes. And to your point about Porzingis, I don't. I didn't like when the Nets played him. He killed the Nets. Like he just was a nightmare for them.
Yeah.
But there is something he is lacking. That there's something. His defense is bad, and then there's just something missing. But if he's the number two, if he's the number two behind Luka, who's got it, he's got the it stuff.
Right. He does.
You know, then maybe he can win a title as the number two. He's definitely not going to win the title as a one. He's just not that kind of player.
Right, and that's fine. Let him win the title, but just next year is all I'm really worried about. The right to swap in 3 years, whenever that is, that second pick is, I don't care. Right now, it's just about this one because back then, in 3 years, if they have a right to swap later, then maybe we can use that. We can swap and deal it and get somebody. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm just so used to being on the other end of these trades.
Right.
From Eddie Curry, from Jamal Crawford. You know, maybe I don't know if they traded for Jamal Crawford, whatever, from the Eddie Curry trade, just from all the trades from the Isaiah trades, we kept giving up picks and like, it was just, and every pick they had was low they were a terrible team. And then the Melo trade. And then, you know, we have the year we talked about on the last podcast with Derek Fisher and Kurt Rambis, and they had no draft pick to show for it. You know what I mean? Right. And then you have to piece together these teams and then win 32 games. And then like you have no future on the team. And it's just like, ugh, like this is just, just keep your picks. And right now, that's why I'm so excited right now. Like I said, you met me at the most positive Knicks fan point I've been in years.
Yeah.
And I'm not usually this positive about them. Like sure. I'm like, because they have the draft picks, they have the cap space, they have the young players, they have a good coach, which I hope is not the wrong pick. I hope it doesn't raise expectations unexpectedly, but they are in a good spot right now, and they're hiring the right assistants. Like they look good on paper. Like they're if they fail, it's because they make some kind of stupid move, or RJ doesn't develop and Mitch doesn't develop, and this next pick doesn't develop. Yeah. But like they are in the position where any GM would dream of, you know what I mean? Any GM would dream of taking this position, or president like Leon Rose right now. And he knows that's why he took it. He's like, all right, here we go. Let Phil Jackson fall on the sword. Let these guys fall on the sword, and like, okay, you know, they suck. I'm the savior, say all the right things, you know what I mean? And then like, you know, here we go.
I guess it's funny for me to hear you say like they're in a good position, which I'm not gonna. If they're in a good position relative to the other positions they've been in, like this is what normal bad teams do. I guess you're just so jaded by buying Knicks bad. Like this is what normal. Like this is what the Cavs are doing. This is what the Hawks did, and like you know they've got Trae Young, and we'll see how their other young guys develop around them, and if the Hawks are going to be good. But this is like, it's just funny. Like, this is just normal bad. Like, this is what the Suns did, right? Mm-hmm. And then Devin Booker has developed. DeAndre Ayton has developed. And now if you're a Suns fan, you feel a little optimism going into next season.
Right.
But if all the cards played right for the Knicks are 2 to 3 years even behind where the Suns are right now in development. Mm-hmm. But it's just funny to hear your excitement. And a little bit of me is trying to just temper it because I don't want to get you too excited because that's what I got to do. But you're in a good place. There it is, the Mecca. That won't flip you off. But again, it's just from where you were to now, like normal bad team. This is like running things the right way. Good draft pick in Mitch. RJ, we got to see. Mm-hmm. Younger players develop. We've got the draft picks. We've got the assets, and let's see what happens. So kudos to the Knicks for not fucking it up.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to trade the draft picks for like Lauri Markkanen or something like that. Like I'm waiting for that move. I'm waiting for it because it's just like when Porzingis was so great. Like you painted the picture perfectly of Porzingis as a Knicks fan feeling, and you got this guy. You're like, wow, he can be anything. You know, post knee injury is a different story, but now pre knee injury, I'm like, wow, this guy can be anything. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, yo, he's gonna get hurt. I'm just like, I know it. Like this is too good to be true. Like Jacob deGrom, the Mets. Wow, we have the best pitcher in baseball. Oh well, I got some neck tightness in my blister. Like, all right, see you next year, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this sucks, man. Like, we can't ever have anything good. Like, it's just the way it's been. And I hate to be negative or to sound like a Joe Beningo or something, but it just is what it is. I'm not quite as negative, but I'm pretty negative, especially with the Jets. But it's just in general, it's just something always happens. Like even when we developed that team to get to the Melo years when they won the 3 straight playoff series, the 3 straight playoffs, like everybody seems to forget. Excuse me. And leading up to that, they had the ability to build a championship contender, like a legit championship contender, but they wasted. We've been through this. They wasted the amnesty on Chauncey Billups after re-upping him before the lockout so they can sign Tyson Chandler, and they couldn't amnesty Amari Stoudemire. Chris Paul wanted to come, and if Chris Paul and Melo in their prime, then, you know, look what Chris Paul did for the Clippers. You know what I mean? You never know with Melo, who's better than Blake Griffin. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like in his prime. So it's kind of like, I mean, there's always going to be something that screws it up, even if they become a good team. Like, I'm just waiting for it. You know what I mean? Like the Knicks in the 90s, you draft 2 all-star point guards, Mark Jackson and Rod Strickland. You trade Rod Strickland because you don't want them to play together, and then you end up trading Mark Jackson anyway a few years later. It's just like, what the – and then you're still looking for a point guard 20 years later. It just doesn't make any sense, man. There's always something. Well,
it just points to the fact of how difficult it is to win a title. I mean, especially in the NBA, it's like almost impossible to get everything to have the stars align. So it just brings back to what you talked about earlier with my excitement, because, there's no guarantees with the net roster, but at least going into next season, for the first time since 2003, I'm going into a season going, I want to win a title. I've never, it might blow up in my face.
Like it could happen.
It could happen, you know, especially too. Who knows next year where they're playing? I mean, this could be another. I mean, who knows? I mean, who knows what it's going to be? Empty arenas, bubbles. It's going to be weird. So I think there's a little element of that. But I just, for the first time, I'm like, you know what? They can win. It could blow up in their face. We might never see Durant and Kyrie. Maybe LeVert's not as good as I think he is in my head. But or maybe it goes out and I'm like, this is a 55 to 60 win basketball team, and then they go into the playoffs and who the hell knows what happens. And you know, the Bucks are a weird team. They're something about Milwaukee is just off in my head. So I, you know, just, like I said, it's so difficult to get the ducks in a row to win a title that it's, for me, I'm just like, you know what? At least there's maybe a chance here for this to happen. I don't even know. Like, if the Nets won a title, I can't even imagine that kind of joy. It would be so cool. Like I can't even fathom it.
You'd cry. I think you'd cry, especially if it's on some crazy like last second shot and they win it, like, you know, and it's just like, oh my god, you know. I think I probably would if the Knicks won.
I would.
Anytime.
Yeah. I mean, I probably
there'd be a tear. I don't know if it'd be like straight up like hysterical crying, but there'd be like a little bit teary eyed. You know what I mean? There'd be a little like, oh my god, I can't believe this just happened. You know,
there's the feeling
I'm taking off work for a week so I can party, go to the parades and do everything.
No, you're not going to parades. Well, maybe by the time
when the Knicks win, 10 years.
By the time, hopefully by the time the Knicks are good, there's a coronavirus vaccine.
We would hope so.
I think that's going to come first.
No.
I hope so.
I would hope so too.
All right, cool. I know I'll just say this about Jacques Vaughn. He's done an amazing job with this team. He's been a great coach. It doesn't really matter though, because it's kind of like the reincarnation of Kenny Atkinson with taking low-level guys no one's heard of, making them fun and play well. But ultimately, it's just about what, you know, KD wants. So I hope Durant's got a high opinion of Vaughn. I've really been happy with what I've seen from him.
Yeah, no, and does this in any way diminish Kenny Atkinson in some way, the way Jacques Vaughn is doing with this team?
That's an interesting question. It's a good question, Alex. I haven't thought about that. He's like,
see, this is what I bring to the table, Mike. You know,
that's a great question.
I bend your imagination. No, because it's just because, you know, Jacques Vaughn's coming in. Everybody's like, oh, Kenny Atkinson. And you know, he's a great coach. I like him a lot. I wanted the Knicks to hire him. I preferred him, actually. But Jacques Vaughn's coming here in the bubble with no shot, and he's like really making a name for himself. I mean, he was already coaching before. It's not like it's his first job, but he's really, really doing a good job.
I don't know if it's diminished Kenny, but it's made everybody just kind of, well, then maybe forget about him and maybe overhype what he did a little bit. I mean, the circumstances are so different though, because this is in a bubble. This is like I think Vaughn's just done a good. He's by far, like, watching these games from a strategical standpoint, is just a better coach. Like, from what I've seen on the court in the small sample size, small sample size. Like, the little adjustments he's made has been more sophisticated than Kenny ever did. Moving LeVert to the point guard was huge. Like, the timing of when to go to a zone versus Portland was nice. Double teaming Damian in spots, even though he still went off. But it was like, he didn't go for 60. He went for 40, which is all relative, you know. And he was taking, first of all, and Lillard was taking like half-court shots. Like, there's no defense for that. The guy's going to pull up and take half-court threes. Like, what do you do? So
you can't guard from the timeline. Like,
right. So I know it's like, oh, Lillard scored 40. That was a good game plan. It was, yes. It's hard. Like, as crazy as that is, like, yes, it actually wasn't terrible. He just was that good, and he was making ridiculous shots. So it was just, from a strategical standpoint, like, Vaughn is just better. And I like Vaughn and LeVert have been tight for years.
Oh, really?
When Vaughn's the assistant, he was LeVert's like coach to develop him.
Oh, nice.
So
nice.
like they have that relationship. So I think too, Karras has felt really comfortable in this situation running the point because Vaughn's given him the authority to do so, and they've known each other for 3-4 years now, whatever it is. So I think that's helped. But like I said, we'll see what happens. I'm ready for Ty. If they want Ty Lue, they're going to get Ty Lue. It is. I get it. Like, what are you going to do?
Mm-hmm. And we also talk about this too. Is that with Jacques Vaughn, it's kind of he's coaching with no pressure. The no pressure coaching is a lot easier than the pressure coaching. If there's no DeAndre Jordan not beef, but there's no like, should we play DeAndre Jordan over Jared Allen because he's getting paid more and right. These guys like there's none of that. So the other guy name I wanted to throw at you. What do you think about Sam Cassell as a Nets coach? Your boy.
Is that a rumor?
No, but he's an assistant and he coached the second half for the Clippers yesterday and. He's been trying to get a job. I mean, he's a former Net. I think he would like that. You know what I mean? Like there's things like that. Or you're over that with the Jason Kidd stuff.
That stuff. Well, that's just first of all, Sam Cassell's one of my favorite Nets ever. He's one of my favorite players ever because he just tortured the Knicks in the finals as a baby. So I love that.
Great. Thanks.
I know he's an assistant at the Clippers. I actually been trying to get him on as a guest. I've given up with so I emailed the Clippers. I actually hacked the system and figured out what Sam Cassell's Clipper email was. And I emailed Sam, haven't heard back. I love doing this kind of stuff.
Cassell@clippers.com or something like that.
You could be honest. I'm not going to say what it is, but
think about it. Like
you can figure it out.
Every bank, every company that it's your name, first name dot last name or first initial last name.
Right. There's different combinations. And every NBA team is a little different. Mm-hmm. But I like take you behind the scenes of what I do for CBS Sports Radio. We get guests on. Big part of my job is getting guests on. And like if I email the Clippers for Sam Cassell, they're not going to do it. They're just not going to do it. They're not going to help me. So
especially
if I figure out what Sam
or the playoff push and there's no time for that.
Yeah, this was before, but the timing. So if I figure out maybe what Cassell's email is, send him a note. Maybe he sees it and is like, yeah, I'm sitting around. I got nothing to do with the bubble. Like
sure,
whatever.
I want to be a head coach.
You just don't know. So anyway, point is, I haven't seen, I'm not going to kid you. I don't know enough about Cassell's coaching style. Like Vaughn as an assistant. I don't know. Like, I have no idea. If Doc Rivers likes him, I think that's a big vouch. Doc, obviously well respected in the league, has done a tremendous job. So that's, big. I loved Cassell as a player. He ultimately was how the Nets got to Jason Kidd through a timeline of trades, which I won't bore you with. So I don't know. I mean, I like the idea. I mean, Sam Cassell. I mean, it just, I guess, as long as KD likes him, that's all I care about.
That's all that matters, right?
That's all that matters. I mean, it is.
That's why I respect
everything
you.
Back, but it's true. It's true. Yeah. Like it's whatever he wants, he's going to get. And I've said this: the Nets made a deal with the devil. They did. They made a deal with the devil. So I just hope the devil's Achilles is okay. You know what I'm saying?
Well, which one is the devil? Is it Kyrie or is it KD? Like, which one is the devil? Which we don't know. Or are they co-devils?
They're co-devils. They're co-devils. Go Devils. Yeah,
they're co-Satans.
See, again, it's just.
No, I just think Sam Cassell is a good. He's always like a loudmouth coach. Sorry to cut you off. He was always like a loudmouth coach, mouth player. I'm sorry. And then he was with the Wizards, and the Wizards were like, I don't know if they were good with him, but he was like. Bradley Beal, I'm sure, doesn't hate him. You know what I mean? That's also good. And then there's now he's on the Clippers, and the Clippers are successful. I know they have a lot of talent, but it is. But they were successful even without the talent last year. I don't know. Was he there last year? I don't even know his. I think so. He was there last year.
I believe he was.
Last year was more impressive than this year when they, you know what I mean, for the Clippers. So. And the fact that Doc Rivers is letting him coach the second half, like Pop did for Becky Hammond, let her coach a game. You know what I mean? It's like. This is definitely helpful, and this shows I'm vouching for my assistant here. This guy woman needs to get a job. Like they deserve a position. So I think that speaks volumes. I don't know. I think ultimately it's Ty Lue's job to lose. Like we all knew it was Thibs or Tibbs or Thibodeau for the Knicks, and we just kind of talked ourselves into Atkinson and all these other candidates, but. Yeah. We all knew it was him. So I think it's Ty Lue to me personally. And
I feel good. I think you're right. I think it's going to be Lue also, just for all the connections that make sense.
And Kyrie.
When you put the pieces together. Yeah. Lue with Kyrie, Coach LeBron, so he knows what it's like with these big name guys. Mm-hmm. I just feel good for Vaughn too. Like even if he doesn't get the job, that he's put on tape, just a good little resume piece that he can find maybe a job somewhere else, like, and can get himself another role, because he's a great guy. He's put in the work and he's done such a good job. Like, just for him, I'm happy to see it, because like you said, no pressure, which is right, and he's excelled in it, and he's just kind of taken this opportunity and run with it. So that's kind of cool to see. And even if he's not the guy next year, and I'll get over it fast.
Yeah,
the Nets are 8-2, and Durant's looking great. Like, who gives a shit? I like
coaches in the NBA. That's another reason why I was against Stip. Sorry to cut you off again. I suck. But the coaches in the NBA. Coaches in the NBA are sort of irrelevant when you get the star power. Like, that's why I wasn't so excited for Thibodeau, because I feel like he's going to be once these guys develop, if they hate Thibodeau, he's going to be gone. Like, you know what I mean? If RJ develops into a star, if the next draft pick they have is a star, and Mitchell Robinson develops into like one of the best defensive players of the league, like he already is, then it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter who the coach is. They're going to be like, no, we want this guy the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? It's just what it is.
Yeah, no, it is true. And I thought it was funny because you texted me. I think you texted me this about Kenny Atkinson and the Bulls rumors, and you were like, "This is both of our nightmares." Yeah. I actually want to see him do well there. Not that I want to see him doing well in Chicago would make me happy, because I liked him and I really thought he did a great job with the Nets. Him doing well in the Knicks would be my nightmare.
Him doing well with Chicago and it wouldn't bother the Nets out of the playoffs. That would bother you.
That would, yes, but it's not the same.
No,
it's not the same level of like if he goes to the Knicks and it's right. I mean, it's like right in front of my face.
In your face,
right in front of my face.
We're doing this podcast every week, and I'm telling you how much I love Kenny Atkinson, and like,
yeah, like you're showing me this mecha shirt, and it's got like a head of Kenny, like looking like an old vampire coming together.
Yeah. Ripping the Nets, get it? Like ripping the Nets apart.
I get it. Like, yes, the Swamp. Funny. That's why they should have changed their name to the Swamp Dragons when they had the chance. But yeah, that wouldn't bother me as much.
All right, well, that's good. All right, well, you want to do some first round predictions?
Yeah, let's do first round predictions, and then we'll do finals and who will win it all.
Okay, we can do that.
I'm really organized. I got to bring up the. Do you have the slate in front of you?
I have my picks. I don't have the slate. Hold on, I can get it for you.
Yeah.
We gotta.
Yeah, we're wasting time here. This is what it's called not being organized. And this is a good time that I will plug some of the other podcasts on the Pros Club Network. You like that? So go to theprosclub.com. That's where, of course, you're finding Bad Weather Fans. There's a whole podcast network that's been developed for other content. Real Talk Basketball with Rex Walters. There you can get Rex is a former Net, actually, former NBA assistant coach, college head coach. He interviews different guys throughout the league. He had Stan Van Gundy on, Eric Musselman, Jason Williams. He's got a bunch of different dudes. So check that out. Also, Outside the Box, and then Mike Delivers on there. Mike Delivers is my podcast about being an Uber Eats driver, and I document my stories on the road and then talk to different people about food delivery. Alex actually was on episode number 97, I believe.
97, that's right. 97.
So there's 100 episodes on there. Check that out. Was that enough time? Did I buy enough time?
Yes, you did. I pulled it up on my computer, and I also texted you a screenshot. So look at that. See,
you're like a producer.
I'm like, I almost like. It seems like I work at CBS Sports Radio, like you. It's almost
no, you're better than that. Stop it. You are. Sorry to all my friends that they agree with me. If they listen to this, I don't think they do, but they would agree with me.
I hope they do.
Okay, you want to do West first or East first?
Let's do West first. West.
Okay. So Lakers versus, we don't know yet when we're recording this. It's before these play-in games, but
it doesn't matter. Either one is going to lose. Blazers or Grizzlies. Go ahead.
I think it's going to be Portland. Personally, I'm not reinventing the wheel with that thought.
Yeah.
But I like the Lakers. I think this thing's going to go like 6 or 7.
So you're doing. Really do. You want me to write down official picks? Okay, I'll write.
Yeah, I'm writing them down.
Mike pick. Lakers.
We put anything on the line with this?
We can do that. I mean,
we forgot to do the FanDuel last night.
Yeah, but it was a BS FanDuel because everybody was.
Oh, that would have been a hell on earth. Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, those are the worst. Like the last week in the NFL regular season, it's like, oh.
Yeah. My pick for this round, for this series, Lakers versus Blazers or Grizzlies, I say Lakers in 5. I think I'm giving the game because I think it's going to be Blazers, but if it's the Grizzlies, I think it's a clean sweep. But I'll do Lakers in 5 officially, regardless.
Yeah, if it's the Grizzlies, I think 5. If it's or 4, I'm going with the Blazers. So I'm going to go Lakers in 6.
Well, let's amend this one. We'll keep this one amended. Like we can fix this one offline.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, next one. You want me to go first on the next one since you went first on the last one?
Sure.
Okay, so we have Rockets against the Thunder. I'm going OKC in 7.
Yeah, and the thing about this is the uncertainty of Russell Westbrook and his health, and how funny would it be for the Rockets who made this deal and Chris Paul, and they swapped him for Russ, and then of course they're playing each other in the first round is so poetic. I am gonna say that it does seem like a perfect storybook ending that they would lose this series, and it would just be tremendous for Daryl Morey. But I'm going to go Rockets in 6. I have too much faith. Ooh. I think James Harden's going to do so well in these playoffs because there's nobody there to intimidate. He's not there with fans, and he's actually going to have his best playoff series that he's ever had. He's due. Maybe I'll regret saying that, but I like Harden in front of nobody to do better than Harden in front of everybody.
I love Westbrook. Westbrook's probably one of my favorite non-Knicks in the league. Like, I love Russell Westbrook, but I just think it's nothing against Westbrook and Harden for me to pick OKC in 7. I think it's just Rockets have no size, and Steven Adams is just gonna is just gonna go off. Like, you know what I mean? Who's blocking Steven Adams out on the Rockets? PJ Tucker, you know what I mean? Like Robert Covington, you know what I mean? Like, how is that possible? You know what I mean? It's gonna be like, if the games are in the 120s, 130s, like which they might be, I think the Rockets have a better shot. But if it becomes like a grinded out, you know, one of your favorite terms, I'm sure, grinded out playoff game, I'm sure it'll be more OKC. But I'm going 7. It could go either way for me. I think this series is going the distance. So, side
note, it's just kind of cool to be thinking like there's going to be NBA playoffs on, so like exciting. At 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock. I think that's just, I mean, it's going to be like. Hey, Rockets Thunder. I don't know their schedule off the top of my head, but it's like Rockets Thunder Tuesdays, on a Wednesday, and it's 4 o'clock, and you got to like put it on. It's a tie game. Like that's cool. Like, I'm excited for that. All right, I'll go first for the next one. This is Nuggets and Jazz. I like Denver in 5.
Denver in 5. Wow.
Although now you're making me. I did say earlier I think all these are going 6 or 7, so I'm changing that.
Okay. Sorry, I don't want to.
There's only one. There's only one series I'm giving 5. Nuggets and
Lakers.
Well, the Bucks, Magic, it's gonna be. Orlando's got nobody, but I'm gonna go Nuggets in 6.
Denver in 6.
I'm
going Jazz in 7.
Wow.
I watched that game that I think you were out or whatever. You didn't have power right last week where it went into double or triple overtime.
Yeah.
That Jazz Nuggets game, holy crap, that was a game, man. Like, and I missed the last overtime, and I'm sitting there like I had to go out to that that concert or whatever. And I'm like, fuck, I want to watch this game.
Yeah.
That game was incredible. The Jazz were going toe to toe with them. They actually should have beat them, and it was because of a foul call, a BS foul call, and then the Nuggets actually should have beat them. I'm sorry, but it was a BS foul call. But Donovan Mitchell just took over. I think Donovan Mitchell is on the precipice of being a superstar. I think he's going to show out in these playoffs, and I think the only thing I could see having a problem is him and Rudy Gobert having issues at some point. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the only thing that can derail my pick here. But I think this series is going the distance. I think that they're a very evenly matched team, more than it seems. I mean, Denver is very deep. That's the thing. They have so many guards and so many, and they have Jokic and Millsap, so it's kind of like
the emergence of Porter has been big.
Porter, yeah. Michael Porter Jr., of course, the greatest player of all time, and only the Knicks passed on him.
Can we just talk about this and not have it reference the Knicks? See, that's you bringing it up.
That was me. That
was you. I was just going to say the guy's been great. Like, I don't even. That's the difference. I'm not even thinking about the Knicks. Like, he's had a great bubble. I mean, if you add Jokic, Murray, and then you have a third star, it changes the dynamic for the Nuggets. Right. This is not about the Knicks. It's about Denver. Okay.
Sorry, it's on the brain.
It's about Denver. We have a big Denver audience. Shout out to our affiliate in Denver. All right.
Tons of Denver and Utah Jazz fans listening to Bad Weather fans.
Clippers, Dallas.
So Clippers, Dallas. I think I'm up, right?
You're first.
Clippers, Dallas. I'm doing Clippers in 4.
I like the Clippers in 6.
Clippers in 6? Okay.
I think all these series are going to be deep. Like that. Like, if you haven't heard, I just think these are going to be. This to me, it's more of this NCAA tournament feel. So I think you're going to have all these little wacky games won here and there by other teams that you wouldn't see in the past. I think if this was LA, I'd be like Clippers in 4 or 5.
Fine, I'll give the Mavericks a game.
6. Clippers in 4. Like Clippers in 3. They're just going to end it early.
Mavs won't even show up. No, Clippers in 5. I'll say Clippers in 5 because Luka can go off and they can steal a game, definitely. Yeah. But I think the Clippers are so much better than the Mavericks. It's like not even close. Okay, all right. East. I think you're up.
Yeah, we'll be quick with this. Bucks, Magic. I don't think there's much here to say. I'm gonna say the Bucks in 4. This will be my 1-4.
Sorry, I influenced your pick. I didn't want to.
No, you said it first. I wasn't listening. Okay. I mean, this is just the Magic are depleted. Milwaukee hasn't had a good season. I mean, they dodged a bullet with the Giannis suspension only being 1 game.
Yeah, I mean, come on. You can't suspend them for the playoffs. Like, let's be real.
Yeah, what are we doing here? This to me is going to be quick. Now, Orlando's got size with Vucevic.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. Milwaukee's going to turn it on here. Maybe Orlando gets a game. I'll do Bucks in 5.
They got the home court advantage. They're in Orlando. And
yeah, right. Oh, my God. Give me a break. Okay, so you said 4.
Yeah, 4 is the way to go. I mean, Aaron Gordon and Vucevic could steal a game, but, listen, come on. Like, Middleton and Bledsoe and these guys, like they're gonna feast. And Giannis is the best player in the NBA, and it's almost close, but it's just he's the best player in the NBA. So all right, next
Heat Pacers. This is fun with the TJ Warren Jimmy Butler beef. I think the Sabonis injuries to Indiana hurts a lot, and I'm on the Heat bandwagon here, man. I mean, I think this is similar to the Raptors, although they're just so well run and they play so hard. And I just trust Jimmy Butler in this situations. I like Miami here. I love what Bam Adebayo's become. I'm like so into the Heat. I'll take the Heat in 6.
Heat in 6? Yeah, I'm doing the same. Heat in 6. I think with Spoelstra and the experience they have and Jimmy Butler and all the they're so deep. Remember, I picked the Heat to win it all before the bubble. I just really think that they have the talent. I don't think that's going to happen anymore, but I think they have the talent. They're just so deep and they're built for a playoff team. And Riley knows how to put these teams together. And Spoelstra's been around the block now. He's probably one of the best coaches in the NBA. Nobody talks about, and it's just I don't think. The Pacers have talent and they're looking good, and TJ Warren and Jimmy Butler had their little beef going on. But you know what? I saw recently that they only played against each other for about 18 minutes of game action. You know what I mean? So it's how big is this beef really? I know they hate each other, but I just think eventually talent wins out, and the Pacers without a healthy Oladipo, I think that they're gonna lose. They'll win a game or two, but it's gonna be Heat.
And like I said before, if Sabonis is there and healthy, and you get your 6'10" power forward that can go up there and battle against some of those Miami bigs, that's a game changer. But if he's not there and you're relying on TJ Warren to continue this hot streak and then get production from Victor Oladipo, it's just a lot to ask for. Just a lot to ask for.
It's a tough first round matchup for them,
I mean, I trust me. I love Malcolm Brogdon. I like what Nate McMillan's done. He's coached his ass off there. But that injury just, I think, really hurts them. So I'll go Heat in 6, as I said. Okie dokie. What do we got next? We got this
Celtics.
This is
Sixers.
This matchup pisses me off so much because it should be the best one here. But the Sixers really.
Well, is Ben Simmons healthy? I don't think he's even healthy.
No, he's not playing. He's out. He's out. Simmons is out. So it's if the Sixers want to compete in this series, because talent level, Boston's got way more talent, and the loss of Simmons is, I know he can't shoot threes. He also can guard his ass off and play Tatum, Kemba Walker, and Jaylen Brown and be interchangeable to guard all 3 of those guys. It's a huge loss on the perimeter. I don't know how they're going to stop Boston's guards. That seems to be a major issue. The best player on the court is Embiid. I know Tatum's taken leaps and bounds. He's gotten better. But the best player on that court's Embiid if he wants to be. He's got to be like Shaq 2002 dominant to give them even a chance.
Right. If he go 37 and 15 or something,
he's got to be bonkers good. If he's just 25 and 10, they're dead. I mean, he's got to be bonkers good, or I think the Celtics are going to just destroy them in this series.
Yeah. So what do you got?
I always fall for these Sixers. I'll take the Celtics in 6.
I have the same. I think Embiid gets them a game or two.
Yeah.
And I think that's just what it is. All right, next one. Your favorite. Raptors and Nets.
Nets in 5. I'm just going to go on a limb. I like Toronto to win.
Nets in 2.
I'm going to say the Raptors in 6. I know you're going to say the Raptors in 5 and they get a game. I know what your pick is.
Yeah, that's exactly
what
it is.
But I think again, I've been pretty consistent with these games. The Nets are playing hard. They're playing their ass off. There's no more home court, and we'll see if Karis LeVert's any good, next level any good to get him some wins. But I mean, the Raptors are a problem, and here's the biggest issue against the Raptors, and we saw this against Portland. The Nets get destroyed on the glass. Outside of Jared Allen, they have no rebounding. They have no rebounding. The loss of DeAndre Jordan here is big. They need help on the glass. They just play so small, and with their size, with Gasol, Siakam, it's they are going to bomb the Nets on the glass, and that's my biggest concern with that series.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much to say about it. You broke it down. I mean, the Raptors, they're a better team, and it's just like that's like the basic bullshit analysis, but it's kind of like the Raptors are the better team, and I think that the Nets don't have much of a chance, and I think the Raptors are the team. If you are going to upset someone, I think the Nets, you're happy that it is the Raptors because they don't have that superstar. I know Siakam is incredible, and they have the coaching, and they had Fred VanVleet and whoever, but I can't see the Nets winning more than a game in this series. I got to be honest.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, and that's not a hater. That's not a hater.
No,
thing, but
you look at the rosters.
Yeah.
The Nets don't. I mean, like if you see these bubble Nets, and then you added Dinwiddie and Jordan and Taurean Prince, and all of a sudden, like the depth there. Although these no-name guys like Dante Hall have been good. I mean, Chris Chioza has been good. Although I was a big cheese guy before he even got to the bubble. That's his nickname.
Yeah, no, it's just funny.
So for my finals pick, and I'll tell you who I think is to win. Before we got into the bubble, I had one team, and I've kind of changed my mind who I think it's going to be. I initially had the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Avery Bradley loss is big. Rondo is going to come back when the playoffs get going.
Mm-hmm.
But LeBron and he said it, and this was a cop-out from him, we're just not in playoff mode yet. He looks older to me. He just he hasn't gotten his in-shape level yet. He's also like 36 and has put a lot of miles on his body. And it's incredible what he's doing. But it's all about if Anthony Davis can take them, because if not, it's just LeBron not as good with a bunch of guys like we saw in Cleveland. I don't have the faith in Anthony Davis that he can be consistent enough to help them lead to a title. And then the more and more I think about the depth and what the Clippers have, I just feel like it's going to be Clippers. So I'm going to take the Clippers over the Bucks in 7.
Clippers over the Bucks in 7. Yeah, it's so hard not to pick the Bucks in the East. Like I want to pick someone else so badly, but it's just so hard to imagine Giannis getting stopped this year. I mean, I feel like the Celtics might have the best chance, or the Heat. The Celtics and the Heat are probably the best chances to knock them off, but I just can't see that happening. I maybe I can see somebody pushing the Bucks to 7 in the East at some point, but I can't see the Bucks losing. So it's got to be the Bucks in the East. And then in the West, it's going to be Lakers or Clippers, and it's just so hard. I mean, like I can't see another team sneaking in there, but it's such a hard pick, and like I don't want to go chalk, but like part of me thinks it's going to be chalk. It's going to be the Lakers and Bucks in the finals, and I know LeBron looks old, and it is harder. The older you get, the harder it is to turn that switch and get back on, like it is for us on a obviously smaller scale. Well, it's harder for us to lose 10 pounds than it was 10 years ago. You know what I mean? For LeBron, it's harder for him to turn it on. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, it is what it is. I mean, but at the same time, I mean, that's why he's got Anthony Davis. And I know Anthony Davis has never made a long playoff run, so we don't know. That's why it's so hard for me to not pick the Clippers, who are so deep. Oh, man, it's a rough pick. But I'm going to go Lakers and Bucks and in the finals, I don't know. Got to see how everything plays out. I got to make a pick though, so I'll say Bucks in 7.
Okay, that's good. And we'll reevaluate things as they go along, and all these things aren't going to come true. And when the Nets upset the Raptors in 6, we'll be like, I guess we got to reevaluate and do a different pick now. So I understand things will change.
What did you say though? You said what? Bucks and
Clippers in 7.
Clippers in 7. Okay.
LA, yeah. I like the Clippers.
It's just so hard, and I hate being that like typical analyst guy who like picks the chalk, the 2 number 1 teams, but I just can't see anybody stopping. Like I think LeBron is so focused. I mean, I just can't. I just can't see any of that happening. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just how I feel.
It's okay. You're allowed to have an opinion.
I hate that. Because I hate the guys who are just like chalk. You know what I mean? Like you do the NCAA tournaments, and like remember Barack Obama used to do the NCAA tournaments, and he would pick all the number 1 and 2 seeds that would get them.
Play safe. I picked the Clippers. I didn't go out on a limb here. I didn't say I was like I like Nuggets Heat.
Yeah,
it's okay. These are better teams.
Yeah, that'd be funny. We should do one. Let's do one wild pick. How about that? Let's do one.
Nuggets Heat.
Nuggets Heat. That's your wild pick.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go with OKC and
the Magic.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. OKC and Boston. How about that?
Okay. All right, those are our wild card picks. All right, Alex. Poll question you put up for your Knicks fans.
Okay. The poll question of the week. Knicks fans, why do you think the Knicks hired Kenny Payne as an assistant coach? He's experienced, to help Knox develop, options A and B, or to attract free agents. What do you think? One, and what do you think the answer should be?
I think the answer should be to develop players, and that was your answer on your poll.
Yes, it was. So why did he hire him? It was, the first two options were experience and to help Knox develop, and option 3 was options A and B, and option A and B. So option C won, which is the combination of the first two.
Yeah. Okay.
By 61.2%. And this was obviously inspired by all the talk this week about, hey, they hired an assistant coach to attract free agents. Ha 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 ha. Like nobody hires an assistant. You think any, like Kevin Durant was looking at Kenny Atkinson's YouTube videos when he decided to, like, come on, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like nobody cares about the coach when you're picking a team.
He thought it was I don't know, but whatever. Kevin thought it was a good situation.
Yeah, exactly. So we have a couple fan responses. We have at Eric St. Croix to sign AD, Booker, Cat, Sam Bowie, Pat Riley, and Drake. Of course, I voted for the third option because I'm not Beck, Bondi, Isola, Goodman, and also because, well, duh. So that was a good one. Then we have tortured but hopeful Knicks fan at Knicks Up fan. Really, it's all of the above. All paths to winning should be considered. That said, it was probably developed Mitch more than Knox. Okay. Then we have at L_Nino 201. He's a good guy. We talk all the time for years. He goes, all of the above. His hiring checks a lot of boxes for us for the development of Knox and Mitch right now and for the future in attracting players who worked with him. Then my guy at Nick Nader responded to with a gift that nailed it. So both those guys, I love those guys. Nick Nader and at L Nino 201, excuse me. Then we have at SKISOLO. Miangelo is his name. Don't care. He's not playing. Fill the staff and let's play with what we've got. Let's go. So he's very excited.
Yeah, nothing more. The "let's go" is such a cliche, and I use it too, so I get it.
It's like, okay during a game. If you're live tweeting and during a game, like, okay, you know what I mean?
Let's go.
But he's a good guy. I like that.
I know, it's cool.
Yeah, and then at Fraser D. Coleman, he goes, Payne is here to help develop all the Knicks, not just Knox, and recruit talent. It's probably 80-20 split. If he can fix Knox, Randall, and DSJ and expand Robinson's offensive game, he's a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer.
I agree. That's fair. Right on point.
It's a lot of pressure to put on one assistant coach. Like, I don't know if Thibodeau's going to do anything. If it's all Kenny Payne,
it's all Payne. Payne. Let's ride the Payne train.
There you go. Then we have Ray Dog, and he's at NYG_27. He's a big Brandon Jacobs fan. He goes, I like the fact he works with developing bigs. I hope team continues to fill out the coaching ranks with more guys with proven resumes. Let's go Knicks. Okay. Then we have our guy, Shannon Ferguson, at EEPDLLC. He goes, options A and B. So he just plain options A and B. And then finally, JG, at Satellite James. He goes, that's a good question.
No answer, though.
No answer.
Just feed your ego.
That's it. That's a good question.
So, hey, good job by you. Good job by you putting that together. You can follow Alex on Twitter at Nick Central. I'm at Mike Delivers Pod. You can find us on social media there with Twitter. We got our picks in the book. We chatted a little bubble. Alex, hopefully this video thing went all right. And I liked it. I thought it was easier to communicate with you because I could see you and I could read your body language, which makes it easier for a conversation.
We're not just hoping for a pause. Wait, did he pause? Can I talk?
That made it easier. It did make it easier. Getting in the nitty gritty. Anyway, all right, Bad Weather fans, make sure you download it. Give it a 5-star rating if you're on Apple. That's greatly appreciated. If you've already given it a 5-star rating, hand your phone over to somebody that has not. Yes, just do that. It's cool. It's helpful. It's awesome. We do appreciate it. I don't think that'll
work, actually. I think
they
need to use their own phone.
Well, that's what I meant. Like, get their phone out. Man. Sorry, don't give the other person, like, if their fingerprint's on this, it's going to work. My bad.
Do you understand technology, Mike? Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, everybody. Stupid net fan.
Yeah, idiot.
All right, Alex. Good stuff as always. Appreciate it, man.
All right, Mike. Have a good one.